Have you ever stopped to think what makes a university degree actually valuable? You know, more than just a fancy piece of paper? Well, today we're going to pop the hood on Malaysian higher education and take a look at the powerful engine that's constantly running to make sure everything is top-notch, relevant, and always getting better.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll get into the big why. Why does any of this even matter? Then, we'll check out the national blueprint, basically the rulebook for everyone. After that, we dive into the real engine of it all, see how it shows up in your classroom, and finally, we'll see how the whole system learns from itself in this really cool feedback loop.
All right, let's kick things off with the most basic question. Every country, right, wants to produce graduates who are more than just walking encyclopedias. They want people who can step out into the world and actually solve problems. But how do you actually do that systematically?
And if you look at the official goal, it says it all. It's about nurturing holistic and balanced graduates. See, this isn't just about acing a test. It's a huge national vision to create people who can literally build the country's future and, this is key, walk into a job with the skills that companies are desperate for.
Having a big vision is great, but how do you get dozens of different universities all on the same page? Well, it all boils down to a national blueprint, which is really built on two super important documents that lay down the rules of the game for everybody.
First up, you've got the MQF, the Malaysian Qualifications Framework. The easiest way to think about this is like the master reference guide. It's the thing that makes sure a bachelor's degree from one university is just as rigorous and respected as one from any other university in the country. This gives your degree real credibility, not just in Malaysia, but around the world.
Okay, so if the MQF is the what, the destination you're trying to get to, then the next piece, CAPA, is the how. It's the detailed playbook, the step-by-step GPS that universities use to make sure their courses are actually hitting those high national standards.
And they look at everything. I mean, from the curriculum itself to student support, the staff, the resources, the whole shebang. But the real secret sauce, the part that makes this whole thing work, is Area 7. See it there? Program monitoring, review, and continual quality improvement. This isn't just another checklist item. It's the very engine that drives everything forward.
And that brings us right to the heart of the whole system. Continual Quality Improvement, or CQI for short. The philosophy behind it is actually pretty simple. Quality isn't a final destination. You don't just achieve it and you're done. No, it's a process of constant, never-ending evolution.
And at its core, CQI is this powerful four-step loop. You don't just create a course and then teach it the same way for 10 years. You plan an improvement. You implement it in the classroom. Then you monitor and review what happened. Did it work? And then, this is the most crucial part, you use that real-world info to improve the plan for the next group of students. It's a cycle that just keeps on turning. Okay, so that's the 30,000-foot view. But how does all this high-level policy stuff actually trickle down and show up in a single classroom? How does it affect what you, as a student, actually learn and do every single day?
And that's a super important question, right? Because if this whole system doesn't actually make a difference to the learning experience, then it's just a bunch of paperwork. But it absolutely does. And it all starts with clearly defining what you're supposed to learn.
It really boils down to two kinds of learning outcomes. You've got the big ones, the Program Learning Outcomes, or PLOs. These are the broad skills a graduate should have after their whole degree. But to get there, you need Course Learning Outcomes, the CLOs. Think of the CLOs as individual bricks. Each course gives you a few specific bricks, a new skill, a new piece of knowledge, and by the end, you've used all those bricks to build the final house, a skilled, capable graduate.
Now, the principle that holds all these bricks together is called constructive alignment. It sounds a little technical, I know, but the idea is incredibly simple and powerful. It just means that everything a lecturer does, from the way they teach to the assignments they give, is all intentionally designed for one purpose: to help you master those specific course learning outcomes.
Let me show you what I mean. Look at this. If a course learning outcome, or CLO, is to work effectively in a diverse team, well, that's a brick that helps build the bigger skill of interpersonal skills. So does the lecturer give a long lecture on teamwork? Nope. The teaching method is a group project. And is the final test a multiple choice exam? Of course not. The assessment is a team presentation. See, everything is perfectly aligned to build that specific skill.
So all those assessments you take, whether it's a small pop quiz or a massive final project, they're doing more than just giving you a grade. They're actually generating data. And here's the kicker. All of that data, where students are getting stuck, what concepts they're mastering easily,
all of it gets fed right back into that CQI loop to make the course better next time. All right, let's zoom back out one more time. We've seen how this valuable data gets created right there in the classroom. But the billion-dollar question is, where does it all go from there? How does it actually close the loop? Because that's the whole point, isn't it? The data can't just die in a lecturer's gradebook. It has to travel. It has to go on to fuel a much, much bigger conversation about the quality of the entire program.
And that conversation involves everyone. This isn't just academics talking to other academics. The universities are actively talking to students, to alumni who are out in the working world, and, critically, they go straight to employers and professional bodies. They're asking the most important question of all: are our graduates giving you the skills you actually need?
And that right there is how the loop gets closed. The data from the classroom gets combined with all that feedback from the real world. This helps improve the program, which in turn makes sure the university is meeting those national standards and, just as importantly, meeting the needs of the job market. It's a living, breathing, responsive system. So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that real quality isn't some static report you file away. It's a continuous, dynamic conversation between the classroom and the real world. And the ultimate goal isn't just to make sure a degree is good enough for today, but to build an educational system that is smart and agile enough to keep evolving for the jobs of tomorrow.